perhaps not during your tenure, but with past sheriffs, they spent a certain percentage of time
certainly
busting people for pot.
Absolutely. They did.
So what percentage would you guess is going to be spared for your time and effort in pursuing pot arrests?
I don't have time for that. The voice of the people has spoken. They want it legal. It's legal. Here we go. I have time for murders. I have time for assaults. I have time for domestic violence. These are people crimes. That's what I have time for.
Now, are you going to be involved in the enforcement of criteria when it comes to what is and what is not legal in terms of private grows or whatever? Let's say a guy has 5 plants and he's only allowed 4 plants or something like that. Are the sheriff going to be? I mean, what's the line there? Is there?
Well, potentially we could if we come across something that's outside the law,
flagrantly
that's just
violation, yes.
Blatant and flagrant and that type of thing. But again, I have to prioritize what I go to, and it is what it is. So marijuana is now legal.
One of the things about Cave Junction is that they have a rule against drinking beer in public in Cave Junction, and it won't be the Grants Pass City Police that would deal with that. Would be your contract deputy out in IV. So, but they waived that rule, or at least seemed to do it, during the Labor Day parade. There's people along the side. You can see them. They're drinking beer and having a wonderful time. And, well, okay, we're going to let that go. So what happens if someone's on the side of the road and you're going by in a float and people are drinking beer? And then you see they're smoking marijuana.
So much law enforcement is you look at the totality of the circumstances. What's the situation? What's going on? We have, I guess the word I'm looking for is we have options. We have things we can do, things we can't do. And so you just have to look at the totality of the situation. Is somebody going to be hurt over the situation? Is something it's so egregious to the public that they can't do that? Well, it happens. I mean, I was out in Wolf Creek at the Wolf Creek Parade, and a bunch of people were drinking beer and walking down the side of the road and things like that. Well, I'm not going to stop in the middle of a parade, and hand some guy a ticket for drinking in public. You got to take it as it comes.
So the same thing goes for marijuana?
It's situational. It's situational. So it depends. So it's hard for me to answer the question, totally truthful by saying, yes, I'm going to do that every time, or no, I'm not going to do that every time. It's situational.
An officer pulls over someone for what looks like slightly erratic driving.
Okay.
And then they notice something in the car where they hadn't originally been looking for that. And the thing that they notice is an open container of beer. It might be empty. It could be open and dry. And it's sitting right next to the person. Well, that person's in a bit of trouble. Let's suppose then instead they find that there is a marijuana cigarette, partially smoked or not smoked at all, sitting in that car. Is there any similarity between those two cases?
Well, you need reason. Yeah, there's both of them are at least, well, I don't say controlled substances. They're regulated substances now. So if you have a person with slightly erratic driving, you're looking at a possible DUI. So you have a reasonable suspicion that a crime has occurred. Therefore, you have reasonable suspicion that maybe the person's drinking or maybe the person's smoking the marijuana and driving. So you're going to conduct an investigation just like you would any other. It's highly likely a person like that might be subject to field sobriety tests, or at least asked to.
All right, let me just change the scenario a little bit. So you're not pulling somebody over because it's an old guy wearing a hat, although I have many times found that that's dangerous. Keep away from those people. But it's someone that has maybe changed lanes without what you can perceive to be the proper signals, something benign.
Okay.
And when you pull them over, there is an empty bottle of booze on the seat next to him. Okay? Not necessarily alcohol in his breath, but you're not supposed to have an open bottle, even if it's empty, sitting in a car. Well, what if you had just a plain old marijuana cigarette, or a marijuana cigarette that's partially smoked? Now, is that the same?
Well, it could be. See, you don't have all. I don't have all the facts there because I'm going to see about a million other things going on in there.
Yeah, but the law has recently passed. Have they made, have they amended laws to include a partially smoked joint in there as being the same as an open container?
Well, you're looking for impairment. You're not looking for. I'm not looking for whether there's necessarily a marijuana cigarette or necessarily a bottle of beer or vodka.
No, no, well,
Yes,
wait a
but
minute.
if there's a half-empty bottle of whiskey
Whether it's
on the
impaired or
passenger
not.
seat, you're going to bust them for open container, right?
Right.
Depends on half empty.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. They're going to get a citation for that.
So does the same thing apply in the
Half
world of
smoked
marijuana?
No, I don't think the rules establish that
Yeah.
at this point
Okay, interesting.
that I'm aware of.